the intercooler showed up. So essentially, everybody needs a quick detached grill. Essentially, we're going to be housing in there. If you haven't seen, let me just detach this for half a second. That's the stock intercooler down there. It is tiny. It is a little tiny baby. She's also a bit rooted. It's covered with mud and everything. Fins are bent. All the lovely good stuff. It's just one of those things. Now, I was looking at replacing the intercooler with a slightly bigger one. This was before I decided to up the boost. But that went away, and I picked up this one from Wally. Some eBay mum called Wally. But it's a GPI Racing. Ooh, let's just balance it there. It's a GPI Racing intercooler. Yeah, Wally Cooling. So this one's a 40mm thick one. She's 550 by 230, so it actually fits in there quite well. When I bought it, it actually had pictures of mounts on here. That went significantly well. I ended up contacting good customer service. But the downside is, sort of why I'm bringing it up, is the second I get mounts put on here, the warranty's voided. How the fuck are you supposed to mount an intercooler without mounts? Anyway, that's up to them. I ended up getting a couple of dollar refund because I found someone that would weld. I did find someone that would weld some mounts on here, but that sort of fell through. So I've come up with another idea for it. But yeah, just a heads up if you're buying these ones, because it was 125 bucks to my door. If you are planning on buying these ones, keep in mind, apparently the second you put a mount on here, it voids its warranty. So yeah, let's find out how she's going to sit. I'm going to end up starting to pull the car apart and all that sort of lovely stuff. Not everything is as quick detached as that grill, so yeah, we'll start getting it all apart. And alrighty, now we got one very small intercooler. Actually, the fins aren't as bad as I thought. Oh, the front's, yeah, all that's caved in, all that one's caved in. They haven't got liquid rushing out, so that's a good start, but fuck, she's dirty. Fucking hands are messed up. To give you an idea, new intercooler or old intercooler. So this one is about 50-60mm thick, somewhere around there, whereas this is only 40. The reason why I went 40 is so I could actually fit it in this area, but we'll place that back down there. Now, this bar here has got to go, or be bent or something, because actually I might space it out along the bottom and see if I can slip the cooler in there. I didn't realise how much of an angle that was on. There you go. Sorry, I've never had most of this shit out before, so once I get that bar out, we'll see how she sits, eh? At least everything's pretty nice, the same bolt. So most people I've seen that do intercoolers will actually put them forwards and cut out their grill. I want to sink mine back a little further because at some stage I want to jam a winch in here, so I would like a bit of extra space. But the bonus is I'll have my intercooler sitting up a little bit higher. I believe this bar is just, I don't even know the purpose of this bar, to be honest. It's pretty thin, so can't see it folding that radio support panel in. I can't see the top piece bending down without it. It's, I don't know, somebody will know why this is on there. I can go there. Where'd I put that other bolt for that one? Oh no, I should say. All my cables can disappear for a minute. Really should be having some cardboard on this so I don't bend all these fucking fingers, but this is about where she's going to sit. The other reason why I want it so high is because all that airflow is going to hit there rather than not a whole lot. I do still have that other mount on there, so as it sits, that's how we're looking pretty much. Let's get you guys off the tripod. And we're going from here. As you can see, I've got a bit of clearance there. Down on this side here, I still got plenty of room to route that out through there. Now I do have some hoses coming. That's a fucking surprise for you, because not a lot of people think to do this. It's not quite ideal, but I'll explain it, because this is going to be a two-part video, whereas you're going to watch it in one part. But yeah, we've still got plenty of room up there, which will pop out there where the factory hoses are. I will be retaining some of the factory, especially this one, because that's a 40, I don't know, what was it, a 40 something mil, somewhere between 40 and 50 mil outlet on the turbo, which means I'd have to buy a reducer, whereas on the inlet side here it's 2 inch to 2 inch. So this is where we're up to. Now I just got to figure out how I'm going to be mounting it on here. So I'm going to wash my hands and protect that intercooler a little bit more. So what I'm going to end up doing for the top is I've got some 20 mil, 3 mil thick alloy, right angles. Now I can't weld alloy, so what I'm going to end up doing is putting 2 rivets in here, so spacing them out a little bit so it sort of disperses the weight a little bit. Also going to put a bit of, hopefully I've got some Sikaflex floating around here, some Sikaflex in between, do that. And then what I'm going to end up doing is using some, I've got some steel flat strap floating around. So what I'll end up doing, I'll come in through this way, is bolting up to that hole. Now that hole is part to hold the grill in, but as you saw, my grill isn't that fucking secured anyway, so it could do without that bolt. But that's what we're doing for the top. Once I get that done, I can have a squeezy underneath and see what we're doing underneath. But it's so far pretty simple. So with someone with no welding skills so far, you could pretty well do this. So I'm going to try and find some Sikaflex to get some holes drilled and hopefully don't go through the fucking tube, and bolt her in and we'll have a squizzy. We've got the top mounts done. It's not pretty, but it's functional. Apparently I can't do shit straight. See, that mount's a little bit crooked. Well, that's a little crooked, that's a lot crooked. So but I've got room to play with to move it up and down, because at the moment it's just balancing, sitting on the ball bar here. But as you can see, I've got a fair chunk of movement to play with. But I've got plenty underneath the bottom catch here. Let me just go up. I may even be able to lift it up a little higher. So we'll see how we go. But our next task is when I get down nice and low and look up, we've got that to do. Oh, it's zip tie, so I couldn't figure out what it was. Oh, I've got to do the bottom mounts. So how I'm doing that, I'm not too sure yet. I've still got the old intercooler bracket sitting there because I haven't got the hoses for the new intercooler, so all the old stuff has to go back in until I get new hoses. Today's about getting it fitted. So when I do get the hoses, it's wham bam, thank you ma'am. So finally got the mount sorted. As you can see, I decided not to use that. Moved it over, made some holes on this side to hold it on. Doing that also lifted it a bit, which I'm happy with. I've still got to cut down the grill to make it all fit, but we've got all the brackets done, so we've got a bracket left and right there. We come down here, we still got 10mm-ish clearance in between the bonnet latch and the top of the intercooler. And then when we come down underneath, I'll pull all this out in 2 seconds anyway. We've got a bracket on the bottom here that comes down to a strap, and that piece there was, you know, that piece that supported, or I guess supported, goes down the front. Where is it? That piece. So, I mean, if I really wanted to be pedantic about having that piece back in, I'll just have to put a bracket here and put a bolt through there, because then the intercooler becomes that piece. But fuck it, I still don't see the point in it. As I said, it's just sitting loosely at the moment. Once it's all buttoned up, everything will be a bit more solid. I've got plenty of room to put my hoses on here. Once again, that if this wasn't in the way, thank you. They finish roughly where the old pipe came through, so those hoses are on the way. When they show up, we're actually going to have everything done, but give us half a second, I'll get all this out and I'll show you exactly what it is I use and what I did, in case if you wanted to copy, follow along, all that sort of jazz. Alright, this is the intercooler back out. So as you can see, I made this bracket a little bit wider, because I thought, you know, I don't know, I made it wider. So it's a 100mm long bracket that's sitting there. I'm using M6 bolts. And then up on the top here, those two that you saw at the start, those are the two top ones. They're only, what, 30mm wide or something like that. And by the way, that's 30mm right angle channel, whatever the fuck you call it, alloy stuff, not 20 like I said before. This is the 20mm strap. So we've got a nice bit. It needs to curve like that, because I'll move over the car in a minute. And we've got two flat straps with holes in them, 65mm long, I think they were 45mm spacing in between the bolts there. This piece here was 215 long. I'm about 10mm from the bottom. I think 13 odd mil on one of them, but I ended up having to wing that piece because that's the second piece. The first one I made was too short. But it's really that simple if you can't weld alloy. Got a hole here, hole on this side. That's for the mount, so I still got to cut that grill down. What I didn't mention was this sticks out a bit far, but everything clears it by at least a couple of mil. Same with that hose down the bottom there, everything clears that. The reason why I had to bend that bracket was that's where it bolts in down the bottom. Then coming straight up, I've got to get past the rad for the aircon and this pipe, so that's got to be bent out and up, and hence why that's all bent on those angles. Basically I winged it. I just got a piece of straight. Yeah, I'll start a bend there, bent it straight again. Yeah, that'll work. I ended up being 15mm too short after the bend, hence why it's 215 long. But really, it's that simple. So I got a little bit impatient waiting for my bits to show up. I stopped off at Autobarn and picked up some 90 degree bends, but because I'm still waiting for my bits, and it turns out I ordered the wrong bits, judging by how I've assembled it anyway. Alright, so we've already walked through the intercooler. It's only just sitting in here again. I'm still going to do a bit more work, tidy up the mounts and shit like that, but I wanted to get all the piping done, because what I essentially did was pick up two 2-inch 90s, which one there, they only have one blue and one black, so good on them for actually having some. As you can see, I'm running the stock pipe. Now this piece here, you'd probably want about a 45 degree 2-inch bend. This piece here I've actually cut off the original intake pipe. It's not ideal because there's no bead on one side. I'll end up welding a bead on that side anyway to get me through what I need to do, but for this you're going to want pretty shallow 45 degree bend in there. That's on the passenger side, Now you can see by my expert cutting skills, you've actually got to cut a couple of bits off these so they can actually fit in, because you want a nice sharp bend out of there. Passenger side, same deal. Had to cut a bit off to fit down that hole, but there we go. Still using the factory piece here. Now this one here, it's not quite a 90 that you need, and it's not quite a 45 that you need. So essentially you might be able to get away with a 90. This one's a little too short, but if you flatten out this piece so it's down a bit more like that, because this piece isn't long enough, you'll get away with a 90 degree there as well. So in the alloy joiners, you're going to want a 45 and a 90 degree. In the silicone joiners, you're going to want two 90s. That's it. Pricing for it all, we'll start off with the intercooler, $125 to my door, and then we'll have a look at the angle iron. So that's 30mm by 30mm by 3mm thick. For a metre of that, it was $17.70. Then we also had the rivets to fit it, $9.90 for a packet. That's them. Move over to the flat straps. I ended up rounding them a little bit. They're getting painted, if you can actually see that. What did I pay a metre for that? I think $8.30 for a metre of that. And as you can see, I didn't end up using a metre. Silicone bends. You're looking at $35 for a pair. And then you just need your alloy bends, which were the 45 and 90. Now if we come over here, these are drying out at the moment. I ended up welding the other bits on there, ended up fucking up. That one was meant to be on this piece and this one was meant to be on that piece, but it'll work. So that's my 90, that's my 45. Now if you're going to buy them online, you're probably looking at about $50. So all said and done, you'll have a bit of change from $250 to putting an intercooler in the front there. Alright, there you go guys, all buttoned up. So just recapping what I said possibly 5 minutes ago for you. Factory pipe, 90 degree, you're going to want a hard bend, alloy bend, 90 degree silicone, 90 degree silicone. Now I've got everything back in here, it's a bit hard to see on this one, but you've got a 45 hard to factory. Easy peasy, $250 upgrade.